Hi, this is Les-Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. I'm surprised at the way baseball owners and players are handling their current contract talks. The owners seem to be concerned with the health of the players first, while the players are using the talks to get some changes made permanently. You would think everybody would just be happy to get any kind of a deal, understanding just how unique the whole season is, and then work on permanent changes next off-season. Right now, it's hard for the third party involved, the fans, to take sides with the owners or the players without thinking just how greedy they both are. We've got the D-man Dennis-Manoloff here. More Sports and Les-Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les-Levine, it's a Wednesday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les-Levine into its 24th consecutive year, seen exclusively and powered by cleveland.com. It is Wednesday. That means the D-man Dennis-Manoloff is here. D-man, they're teasing us with the chance to watch baseball this year, and I don't know where things stand now. What are you hearing and seeing?
Well, I certainly hope that the bickering that you expected when the proposal was first sent by the owners to the Players Association, certainly hope that that's, again, to be expected and normal, but eventually they're going to come to their senses and play in 2020 because it behooves all parties that MLB at least gives it a legitimate try. Granted, there probably wouldn't be fans in the stands, but I think you can execute a Major League Baseball product without fans or despite no fans because of the television, the streaming, the social media interest that it would generate, especially if you're MLB. You've got to be thinking, in my opinion, July and August are almost exclusive windows for you to command a sports-starved public's attention. So I don't see why the players and the owners would bicker to such a point where they would say no go.
Did you hear what Bob Costas said about the Indians yesterday?
I did not, Les.
Okay, he was talking about doing whatever they're going to do to change the season and the length and all that stuff. And he said, and Bob is really one of the great historians of broadcasting, baseball broadcasting. And he said, I rooted for the Cubs a couple of years ago against the Indians. I root for the Indians, but this is a year that I don't think I'd want the Indians to win because of all they've gone through since 1948 and not have a championship. They'd hate to have it an asterisk or several asterisks by this season if the Indians would win. So I thought that was an interesting take on his part.
I love Bob Costas, but I respectfully disagree in this case. If you decide to go ahead with the season, yes, there's a mental asterisk next to it and a psychological asterisk because that 2020 was the global pandemic. And yes, you could see the season was truncated to perhaps as few as 82 games. But to me, it still goes down in the books as a championship, as a World Series title, no matter who wins it. I would certainly rather have this World Series championship than the Astros championship of 2017. I would certainly rather have this than the Cincinnati Reds championship of 1919? I would much rather have this championship than the strike shortened or strike split season of 1981. So I guess you could talk about that, but as long as they agree to do it, I'm fine with it, and I don't care who wins. They deserve to be called the World Series champ.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. You want to talk to Dennis Manoloff, you can do that. Have any questions or comments? We'd love to hear from you. I mentioned in the Truth and Reason commentary, D-Man, that the owners rather seem to be going or heading toward being concerned about the health of the players, while the players are apparently looking to make some gains politically here, not politically, but job wise. And so they did have a vote on a DH, a universal DH, something they should have had back in 1973, and include that. I'm not sure. Is this a 1-year deal on the DH or is it permanent?
That's a great question, Les. I when I thought about potential return to play or playing in 2020, because they wouldn't be returning, they would be starting because they didn't begin a season. I thought about the universal DH. I think that's the right way to go. The question is, will these things be permanent, as you asked? And there's more than just the universal DH. How they approach this season, will it portend to further seasons? I don't know. But to me, if I were MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred, the MLB hierarchy, the MLB owners, and the players, I would look at this season as a one-time only, pandemic-induced season, and I wouldn't draw anything into anything that we're doing here this year as a future norm in the game.
There have been occasions over the years where the commissioner of baseball has done it for the quote good of the game. I think that it was first brought up with the trades that Charlie Finley was trying to make with the Red Sox, giving up some of his top players, and I think for the good of the game they put a stop to it. And I think that's what you're suggesting right here. As far as the DH is concerned, it coincides with the rule change as far as pitchers having to pitch to a minimum of 3 batters. I think that if you didn't have the DH, the National League, for example, although there won't be such a thing as a National League this year, if they go with the three different divisions, but it seems to me that it would cut down. It would help cut down on the use of pitchers and let their arms rest a little bit between appearances.
Yeah, I hear you, Les. And one of the many fascinating tentacles of this potential MLB season is, what is the taxi squad, if you will, going to look like, and where are they going to play? I would assume you'd have, each club would have its collection of minor leaguers in one area, in one place. I'm thinking the minor leaguers stay at the respective the respective spring training bases, and then you just call them up as you need them. But clearly, they're going to need personnel to be ready. So these guys are going to have to stay sharp. But you had mentioned something, you mentioned about the pitcher and the 3 batter rule. Almost certainly, they're going to play these games if they do play, and I sure hope they do. They're going to play them in front of no fans, at least at the outset. And if there are fans, there'll be only a couple hundred family and friends from each organization, which means you don't need any measures relating to hurrying up the game, Les. Because why are you hurrying up the game? You're hurrying up the game because of the fans supposedly wanting to get out of there or supposedly bored or what have you. You have a captive audience during a COVID. The longer the game, the better. So
Good
I
point.
don't think there should be anything relating to like pitch clocks and those types of
Right.
things.
Did you happen to see a picture on Instagram today of CC Sabathia?
I saw it yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look at that guy. Why did he decide now that he's retired to start looking like that? I always said that if you measured CC Sabathia in Roman numerals, he would be CCC Sabathia.
Well, here's the thing about CC. He carried a lot of weight, obviously, and was a very successful pitcher, borderline Hall of Fame. Some would say Hall of Fame. So he was successful with the large frame, but it did take a toll on his knees for sure. The question, though, is as a pitcher, if you get too tight and too sinewy or too muscular, is it going to affect the rotation in your shoulders, in your upper body to the point where you're not going to be able to pitch effectively? That is a legitimate question.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us during the show at real-les-levine at gmail.com. We'd like to hear from you. And it's easy to get in the beginning, not so easy to get in once we get rolling with the show. So lines are open now if you'd like to get in. Did you know the Ohio Lottery has paid out over $1 billion in winnings over the last 6 months? People are winning in record numbers, and winning is happening all around the state of Ohio. Play an Ohio Lottery game and play it today. Facebook.com is the place to go if you want to find us and respond to questions of the day. Facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine with new content posted each and every day. Dennis-Manoloff and I return in a moment. Paul Hoynes will be here tomorrow. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions, or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Do you like Ohio State football? Would you like to get information from me, Doug Lesmerises, about Ohio State football without having to look at my face? We have got the plan for you. Become an Ohio State text subscriber through cleveland.com. You send a text, 614-350-3315. What do you get? 2, 3, 4 texts right in your phone every day about Ohio State football. Inside information, polls, voting, all kinds of things. You can be on our podcast. We take text subscriber questions on our Buckeye Talk podcast every week. If you really want to be involved with Ohio State football, in season or out of season, become an Ohio State text subscriber from cleveland.com. Send a text to 614-350-3315. 14-day free trial. What do you have to lose? $3.99 a month after that. 614-350-3315. I'll see you in your phone.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Well, today is the 13th of May, celebrating birthdays. Well, not celebrating, but born on this date, the great Joe Louis, 1914. Leon Daddy Wags Wagner, Buy Your Rags from Daddy Wags, 1934. And Nick of Time, 1947. Dennis Rodman, who's been seen on the Michael Jordan festivities. Mike Bibby and Barry Zito, all born on the 13th of May. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Dennis-Manoloff with us. Paul Hoynes tomorrow night. Then Dave Bacon will have his weekend winners. That'll be on Friday night right here, powered by cleveland.com. Christopher Knox of the Bleacher Report had some stuff to say about the Cleveland Browns. And it seems to me, Dennis, that lately, after the Browns taken some hits from the guys who grade such things, it looks like a turnaround, especially in the case of Baker-Mayfield. The free agency and the trades, as far as this Bleacher Report by Christopher Knox, they get an A. The NFL draft, they get an A. And overall, they get an A-. I think we would take that, right?
Yeah, Les, but I'm getting a little nervous here as I see more and more bouquets thrown at the feet of the Cleveland Browns because we need to go into the Wayback Machine. Oh, I don't know, as far back as last year, when all we heard about all offseason, oh, the Browns, they're the team on the rise. They might go to the Super Bowl. And they open up and get dust busted by Tennessee. It's a nightmare of a season. Again, call me a cynic. Okay, fine. I'll plead guilty in this case because while I always say, this, I say I'm optimistic about the Browns during the summer. I do get nervous though seeing so much praise heaped toward the Browns because, for example, think about the Ravens. They're sitting back going, "Oh, really? Okay, great. You want to praise the Browns? Fine. We got them coming in game 1 at our place. We want payback for last year. And oh, by the way, we're the 2-time defending champs in the division with the reigning MVP. So we're not amused. So I can't wait to see the Browns play, even if it is in front of no fans in 2020. That's why I'm kind of a little nervous about all the praise.
All right, let's take a look and see what it looks like on paper. This is from the Bleacher Report and what they have to say. A lot of them use the same narrative that, well, it was supposed to be last year, but okay, it's still in place to do it this year. Cleveland Browns were the winners of the 2019 offseason after adding Kareem Hunt and odell-beckham-jr. However, their 2020 offseason may prove to be the real winner for the franchise, while Mayfield's development will be the number one story in Cleveland this year. The Browns should be in the playoff, should be a playoff team for as many expected them to be last year. That seems to be the narrative now. So that's what Bleacher Report is saying.
Les, let me say a couple things. Number one, I did not see that quote. So what I was saying, I had no idea that quote was coming.
Right.
But also, let me take issue with one thing that was said in there, one word at least. Baker-Mayfield's development will be the number one. No. His production. Nobody cares about his development.
There's no time for that.
Okay?
There's no time for it.
No, there's no time for when we in Cleveland, let me just educate all the national guys out there. When we in Cleveland hear the word development, Les, what do we think of? We think of rebuild. We think of
3 years down the road.
Timeline. Yes, 4 years down the road, this team's going to be good. No. I don't ever want to hear the word development associated with any Cleveland Browns in 2020.
All right, let's see what Knox does as he evaluates the offseason for the Cleveland Browns and see what it looks like to him and how he substantiates the fact that it. Oh, all right, we'll look at that a little bit later. In the meantime, the name Jason Peters keeps popping up. The Browns, the Eagles, the Jets, and the Broncos have been in contact, apparently, with the offensive tackle, Jason Peters. He could serve as a safety net in case Jedrick-Wills is not ready to make the transition to left tackle. I don't like that thought at all, D-Man. If you're going to get Peters, you got to play him, right?
You would think, and I find it hard to believe that he would agree to be a rotational lineman on this team. And here's the other thing. If Wills doesn't cut it, then you got a big problem. I mean, he was drafted 10 overall because he's expected to play jump.
Yeah, and they had their choice of offensive linemen. Or a couple other choices. So that'll be interesting.
Me,
he's 38 years old. Peters is 38.
Yeah. At a minimum with Wills, Les, if he can't cut it at left tackle, you slide him to right tackle and you ask Conklin to go to left tackle and hope that he agrees. But I don't see a scenario other than injury where Wills does not play from the start in 2020.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Dennis-Manoloff with us tomorrow night. It'll be Paul Hoynes. Then on Friday, it'll be the weekend winners with Dave Bacon. Northeast Factory Direct, East, West, and South. They got locations all over. And also the website you want to look to first before you go out. And that is at northeastfactorydirect.com. Alex started the business 20 years ago, and he has done a phenomenal job bringing that out to Northeastern Ohio. We'll come back in a moment. Dennis-Manoloff with us. We got a quickie when we get back. More Sports and Les-levine exclusively on cleveland.com.
Celebrate Naturestone's 30-year anniversary with a free Naturestone floor. During 2020, we will be giving away 30 free floors to 30 very lucky customers to say thank you for making Naturestone the best concrete flooring solution for garages, basements, and more. Call or visit naturestone.com today to register to win, and we'll send you a copy of our new buyer's guide absolutely free. There's no purchase necessary. Winners will be chosen monthly. With over 30 million square feet installed for more than 60,000 customers, it's easy to see why I always say it's not just a floor. Wow, it's Naturestone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Time for a How Come Quickie. I mentioned Northeast Factory Direct. It could have been if they moved it. Well, now we're talking about moving it elsewhere because if city planners didn't put downtown near Rockside and 77, there would have been a north side of town. You know, Alex has it at east, west, and south, and could have been north if they planned it the way Chicago did. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. D-Man, we talked about Jason Peters, a name that we've talked about for the last 3-4 months. And another one we can't get our hands off of now is Jadeveon-Clowney, who's got experience at outside linebacker as well as all over the field. Can't get rid of that name. Are we going to hear from him more?
I don't know, Les. I'm clownied out, man. I mean, the guy, come on, sign somewhere. Oh, my goodness gracious. I don't know. I mean, we'll see, but we say the same things about him every single week.
Yeah,
Injury concerns.
Yep.
Is he going to show up every down? He's not going to get the money anywhere close to what he thought he was going to get, but eventually where does he land and what becomes of, or what is, going to be the status of Olivier Vernon? I don't know.
Well, Clowney has had NFL experience at outside linebacker. Pete Smith of Sports Illustrated projected out the linebackers and defensive end situation and what Clowney could do, and he could line up primarily in the nickel formations with only two linebackers on the field. Mack-Wilson and Goodson would compete in middle linebacker. Then you got Sione-Takitaki and Jacob Phillips, and they will be in competition for the weak side linebacker position. It doesn't seem to me that the linebacker situation is very important to the Cleveland Browns. I could be wrong. Here you have Jadeveon-Clowney at linebacker, possibly. Played at Houston a couple of years at linebacker. Then he threw in more in Houston as a defensive end. And 2019, he was a defensive end for that whole season. So the Browns, if they do sign him, would have some choices. But the injury situation seems to be a lot. Is bringing Clowney as a linebacker realistic? Because the linebackers are sort of weak.
I mean, I like Pete Smith a lot. He's very knowledgeable. I just don't see Clowney as a linebacker anymore. Maybe I'm wrong. At
this point, the way the Browns, the way they look, the way they're set up, the depth chart, what other than linebackers, does anything bother you totally here, or are you okay with every situation?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say their front four defensively is star-studded, and that's why you do have to at least entertain the thought of a Clowney, perhaps. I mean, if they stick with Vernon, he's got to play better. The interior, Richardson's good, I suppose. Ogunjobi's good. I want to see them be better. I'm greedy in that way. The secondary, a little bit unproven. and as you mentioned, the linebackers. But on the offensive side, again, I don't want to be hypocritical here because I just cracked people who are lauding the Browns, but it certainly looks like, based on the names, that the offense is well fortified.
Yeah. Your statement about Vernon is interesting because for a team that relies so heavily on analytics, that doesn't seem to be an analytic move to sign a guy like him and what he delivers for the amount of money that he's getting. It just doesn't seem to jibe right with me.
That's true, but I think you need a suitable replacement for him if you expect to go anywhere.
And the way they've been talking about him all off season is almost like they're talking about him as if he's gone already. Although in the last 3-4 weeks, there's been more positive talk.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't pretend to know what's going on in Olivier Vernon's head. But I just want him to play better than he played in 2019. Now, he would claim he was banged up and that, affected him. Okay, if we're going to give that sort of latitude to Baker, we need to give it to other guys too. But still, I still think Vernon's capable of much more.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Dennis Manoloff is with us. You can explore your future and interest in a program that puts you on a path to a bright future with Tri-C, offering more than 1,000 courses and over 140 career and technical programs. Go to tri-c.edu for more information. We'll come back in a moment. More Sports and Les-Levine, exclusively powered by cleveland.com.
Celebrate NatureStone's 30-year anniversary with a free NatureStone floor. During 2020, we will be giving away 30 free floors to 30 very lucky customers to say thank you for making NatureStone the best concrete flooring solution for garages, basements, and more. Call or visit naturestone.com today to register to win, and we'll send you a copy of our new buyer's guide absolutely free. There's no purchase necessary. Winners will be chosen monthly. With over 30 million square feet installed for more than 60,000 customers, it's easy to see why I always say it's not just a floor. Wow, it's NatureStone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Let's take a look at this day in sports history, May 13th, 1958. This will get Bill from North Olmsted up. Stan the Man Musial gets his 3,000th hit. It was a 6-inning pinch hit, and it came off Mo Drabowski in a 5-3 win for the St. Louis Cardinals over the Chicago Cubs. I wonder, D-Man, I wonder if that was a case like Hank Aaron, where they didn't want him hitting his big home run. They didn't want him to hit it on the road, so they sat him down. Maybe that's what happened with Stan the Man, and then he comes off the bench and gets his 3,000th hit.
Yeah, and we know one of the great stats in the history of baseball, Stan the Man finished with the identical number of hits on the road as he did at home.
That's unbelievable. No question about that. ESPN's Dan-Orlovsky talked to cleveland.com regarding Baker Mayfield's 2020 season. Let's take a look what he sees. He's going to have a monster season. How about that? I feel confident in that you've got 10 to 15 guys that are NFL accurate, And there you see it. He thinks that Baker's going to have a big year. He says it's not fair, first of all, because it's also unrealistic and lazy to come up with the approach that he won't have a good year. So Orlovsky going behind last year's performance and looking back and see how he can improve over his rookie season. Again, D-Man, it's what you and I had talked about earlier tonight. It seems that it's a popular fashion thing to do to praise Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns, especially offensively and in the coaching department. And Stefanski hasn't coached it down yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in wait and see mode with Baker because I was so impressed by 2018 that I expected something close to that in 2019. Didn't get it. So it's back to being, all right, show me, don't tell me. And knowing that he's playing in a new system with a coach who's never been a head coach in the NFL, that presents its own set of challenges. I'm optimistic. Again, as I said, I'm always optimistic in Browns off seasons, but I got to see it from Baker first. The good news is Orlovsky was saying is that it's there. Okay, it's not like you're looking at the resume and you're not finding an accurate quarterback anywhere. He's had accuracy in his past, both at Oklahoma and then his first year as a Brown. So it's not like you're wishing upon a star. Oh, maybe one day he'll be accurate.
Right.
Because what we've said, Les, a lot is that it is very difficult, if not impossible, to teach accuracy at the NFL level.
Man, I haven't heard this.
You either have it or you don't.
I haven't heard this about Odell Beckham, but I'm going to throw this out and see if you think there's anything to it. That he had, right from the beginning, had such little respect for Freddie Kitchens as a head coach, and for some reason he may have, even though Stefanski is a rookie himself, there may be a more built-in agreement that he might be the right guy. Do you think there's anything to that right from the get-go he didn't see much in Freddie?
That's entirely possible, Les, given the body language of the players last year as the season unraveled. But I'll say this, the excuses are gone to me. I find it impossible to believe that Kevin-Stefanski, even though he's a rookie head coach, is going to be as, I don't want to say clueless because Freddie Kitchens knows a lot about football. He certainly does. Who am I to tell him he's clueless? But you know what I mean, as far as how it translated as a head coach. Find it hard to believe we're going to get that again, all right? As long as we don't get that again, then the players don't have an excuse. They need to go out, and even if Stefanski is struggling in his rookie season as an NFL head coach, the players need to rise above that struggle, play so well that they pull their coach along with them, if in fact Stefanski struggles.
And the thing I like is, as a rookie coach, he didn't demand to be able to call the plays, which he was successful at so far in his career, but he understands that you got to be there. You got to be there as the coach of the entire team, including the special teams. And I think good for him to understand what's needed here in Cleveland.
Yeah, Les, I've never understood that from rookie NFL head coaches. Why they don't offload, I mean, rookie NFL head coaches who come from offense, okay? Why you don't offload that? I know we always said about Kitchens, well, one of the reasons he was hired, the main reason he was hired was his play calling. Well, still, if I'm taking over as an NFL head coach, I know I've got so many things to do. I would much rather be the rover, and I would much rather contribute to the offensive game plan and the all-important veto. As we know, if you're the NFL head coach and you get something signaled through your headset on 3rd and 3 that you don't like, you have the right to veto that OC. So
no question about it.
In my mind, if you're, what's that?
Well, the other thing is that, let's say he demands to be the play caller, as Freddie apparently did. If something goes wrong with the offense, it's his fault. If something goes wrong with the defense, it's his fault, even though he might have not had the final say in it because he was so tied up with talking to his quarterback or to somebody on the offensive side. And I just think that the job is just way too big, especially if you haven't done it before. It's way too big to demand being the head of everything.
Right. And at the very least, you need to be simpatico with the guy that potentially is going to be calling the plays. And by accounts that we've been able to glean, Stefanski is on the same page as his offensive staff, as his potential play caller or the candidates being multiple perhaps. But we know this, though. Last year, it certainly felt like Kitchens and Monken were not on the same page. And maybe that was a reason why Kitchens did not want to turn it over to Monken, because they had two distinct offensive philosophies.
Exactly. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. And you can also email us during the show at real-les-levine@gmail.com. I mentioned Alex at Northeast Factory Direct. He's got the guaranteed low price guarantee, and that is if you buy something from him and you find it cheaper somewhere else, they'll immediately refund the difference. And he's been doing it for quite some time and doing it quite successfully. West 140th, Lakeland Boulevard, and Freeway Drive, as well as northeastfactorydirect.com. We're waiting to hear when the Sokolowski University Inn people will be opening shop, and hopefully that's soon. As soon as they let us know, we'll let you know. And it's a place you're going to want to go. One of the first times you get out for dinner at a restaurant in this town, you won't find too many better than Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn. We'll come back in a moment. We'll take a look at Les Levine history. That and more. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had two choices. I was accepted into a four-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
Well, hello, everyone. Let me tell you a little bit about Brown's Football Insider. For only $3.99 a month, you can get text sent right to your phone each day from me, Dan Lobby, Scott Pasco, and Ellis Williams. In addition to that, you'll receive a Football Insider newsletter every day with special things from us, things that you won't see anywhere else on the site. You'll get breaking news, analysis, features, film breakdown, and things like that. Texting us directly gives you a great chance to cut through the clutter of Facebook, Twitter, other social media, and avoid the trolls. Also, it's the only way to get your questions on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. So why should you sign up? Try a 14-day free trial. You can cancel at any time. All it takes is one text, but you won't want to cancel. We have hundreds of subscribers join us over the last year. They love it and have stayed with us. We're seeing the Football Insider community grow every week. And it's only $3.99 a month, which is less than 14 cents a day. What I like most about Football Insider is the opportunity to connect with you one-on-one and really communicate with you. So how can you become a Football Insider? You can click on cleveland.com/Browns, the blue banner at the top of the page. Or easier yet, text me at 216-208-3965. Again, that's 216-208-3965.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
Let's take a look at this date in Les Levine history. 1959, Stan Musial got his 3,000th hit. Les gets his 3,000th hit in the first year of wiffle ball at Chavez Levine. That's great hitting, D-man, consistent all season long to get 3,000 hits in wiffle ball. Defense
Yes,
must have been
sir.
terrible. We had a Facebook question of the day. We'll ask you first, Dennis, and that is, with the shutdowns at 2 months and counting, should the NBA cancel the 2019-2020 season? Should they just cancel it, or should they find a way to get a champion here?
No, I think you finish what you started. They played enough games in the regular season to have that stand. You take your 1 through 8 seeds in both conference, and you have playoffs at a neutral site, preferably Las Vegas. And as I've said to you on previous shows, Les, I would do a one and done, a one-time only, pandemic-induced, as I said before, pandemic-induced, well, one and done. You didn't get March Madness from the NCAA. Why not have August Madness from the NBA?
I'll tell you what, you said that a couple of months ago, and it's starting to catch some legs a little bit. I've heard it from various sources as a pretty good way to approach this. I understand Larry Nance Jr. I understand his willingness and desire to play. There's money involved and all that stuff, and it's good to hear him feel that way, but that's not realistic.
Right. I think it's, I think the season spoke for the teams that did not make the playoffs. In other words, they had enough time to make the playoffs, and they didn't get there. So they have no leg to stand on. They have no shoulder to cry on. They had enough time. And by the way, in both conferences, one of the deficits between that the 9th seed was facing is 5.5 games. I think that was in the West. And in the East, it's 3.5. So it's not like one team was only a game out and you're pinching them out of a playoff spot. I think it's fair to go 1 through 8 on both sides. And my point is this. You can laugh at the one and done and say, well, that's not how the NBA does business. Well, you know what? The pandemic is not how anybody does business. So I would rather have an NBA one and done tournament than, or even one and done and then best of 3 or best of 5 in the final, than nothing at all.
Yeah, good point. All right, so we asked that question of our Facebook respondees, and that is, with the shutdown at 2 months and counting, should the NBA cancel the season? Larry Pantages, they don't have to cancel anything. Resume when testing and a vaccine arrives safely, even if it's a long time away. Then keep the playoffs and start the next season 60 days later with draft picks and new free agents. Unlike baseball, the calendar and the weather don't mean a hill of beans to the business model of basketball. Glenn Berger says, under normal circumstances, the playoffs would have started around April 16th. If the NBA receives health clearance, I would start the playoffs now with only playoff-eligible teams playing a couple of best-of-5 series. It makes no sense to be playing basketball in July. Dennis Davis says, I would have a short mini-camp followed by NCAA-style tournament. That's what D-Man suggests. The winner in the East and West could then play for the best of 2 out of 3. Kevin Quinby, my take, only the playoff teams would want to play. It's a good point. Well, there's money. They'd all want to play, I would think.
Well, unless, let me say this. The king, LeBron James, has made it pretty clear that he wants to finish what was started, because you're LeBron James, you're up there in years, even for him. We know he's on the backside of his career, even though it seems like he's the one guy that can defeat Father Time. His Lakers, #1 seed at this stage of LeBron's career, you think for 1 second he wants to just give up the opportunity to win a 4th title? I don't think so.
I don't either. And also, how about another MVP?
Yeah, I mean, it's he versus Giannis for sure, and who knows how the vote would go. But listen, I think it's in the NBA's best interest. Just as I said about baseball, as when I said baseball would have potentially July and August as a captive audience, the NBA could be thinking, you know what? We could have August as in a tournament setting. We could really dominate the sports news cycle in August, even while baseball is playing.
Right, and before football lights it up. And it would happen before football lighted it up.
I would want to get things done if I were, the NBA. I'd want to get it done before September. And if I were baseball, I'd want to get, at least maximize July and August to the fullest capacity before the NFL gets underway.
Dennis,
And
I
if
know.
you're the NBA and you sell a once in a lifetime NCAA style tournament to the viewers at home, I think it would be an incredibly huge endeavor.
Yeah, I know you've been following the Michael Jordan saga here with 2 more episodes to go. Has anything particularly surprised you about what's happened, or did you forget certain events and now you see it a little differently? What's going on when you're watching it?
What goes on when I watch it, Les, is a lot of cringing and a lot of pain because I realize that Jordan was so dominant and he wasn't playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers. In fact, not only was he not playing for the Cavs, he was, eliminating the Cavs along the way here and there. But what I am glad about though is the youngsters they get a glimpse into what an assassin Michael Jordan was on the basketball court. This is a guy who wanted to win in the worst way. And he was, some would argue, other than Bill Russell, he was the ultimate winner. 6 NBA finals, 6 titles. And I find it interesting. And by the way, this is begrudgingly giving MJ a ton of credit. I don't like doing it, as I said, because he killed my Cavs here and there, and he was playing in the Eastern Conference while the Cavs were, of course, there. But Michael Jordan is the best player of all time, other than LeBron. Those two to me are 1 and 1A, or 1A and 1. And largely because he was such a winner. And when he talks about how he would never do anything that he didn't expect his teammates to do, or that his teammates didn't see him doing, that's absolutely true. And I find it funny when we talk about stars and their supporting casts, and we often talk about Jordan and say, well, he had a great supporting cast. He had Scottie Pippen. All right, Pippen was really good, no doubt about it, okay? But what other players beyond Scottie Pippen, year in and year out, were guaranteed slam dunk studs?
No, you had different guys in the center position, the shooting guard position. It totally surrounded him. But I actually thought when Pippen was playing and he was named to the top 50 players back at the All-Star game here in Cleveland, I think he was part of it, wasn't he? And
Yes.
I had always said that he's just lucky he was with Jordan as opposed to the other way around.
Well, and here's the thing, Les. I don't know how many titles MJ would have won without Pippen, because you have to have somebody that's going to replace Pippen. So who knows who that person would have been. What I will say this about Jordan, though, and I got to believe LeBron privately is chuckling when he saw this, or was chuckling when he saw this. The fact that Michael Jordan did not stand up to Jerry Reinsdorf when Reinsdorf was living off of that ridiculous contract that Scottie Pippen signed. What was it, 6 years, $9 million, or 7 years, $9 million? Something insanely underpaid for Pippen's value. And MJ was like, when he was quoted in the Last Dance, he's like, Scottie, he signed it. He signed it. Well, no, LeBron gets his guys paid. And to me, MJ needed to get Scottie paid. He needed to tell Jerry Reinsdorf, hey, you will tear up Scottie Pippen's contract, and you will write up a new deal.
Yeah, that's
but he
basically
never did.
That's what happened with the Cavaliers, with extra players involved, and get the guys in that LeBron wanted. However, I thought it was made clear that Reinsdorf said, "Look, Scottie, this is not a good deal for you. You sure you want to sign it?" I mean, he gave him every chance to not sign it, I thought.
No, you're right, Les. You are right to say that. And, obviously Pippen was taking the security and the long-term nature of the deal in terms of years. But once it got to the point where it was obvious that Pippen was way underpaid for his production, that's where you would think that MJ would take the mantle right into Reinsdorf's office and go, hey, you got to do something.
Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow with a signed contract.
Yeah, he never did.
Yeah, that's a good point. Dennis-Manoloff with us tomorrow night. Hoynesy, Paul Hoynes, and Dave Bacon with his weekend winners. That'll be on Friday night here on More Sports and Les-Levine. Voicemail of Truth and Reason. If you can't get us during the show, which is aired from 6 until 7 p.m. Eastern Time, you can contact us 23 hours of any other day during the week, and 24 hours. You can do that right here at the Voicemail of Truth and Reason, 216-200-6650. We're coming back one more time with Dennis-Manoloff. Open phones. More Sports and Les-Levine continues. Powered by cleveland.com.
Your home is your most important investment, and your basement is the go-to part of your home. It's your children's rec room. It's where your family and friends spend time together. It's much more than just a basement. Now is the perfect time to add beauty and value to your home with an authentic NatureStone basement floor. And every NatureStone floor comes with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. For a limited time, get our exclusive mini pearl stone for as low as $2.99 a square foot, plus installation. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's NatureStone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. A long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions, or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
There you go. Paul Hoynes will be here from cleveland.com, covers the Indians and has done for many, many years, I think since 1983, believe it or not. That you see us from 6 until 7 p.m. Eastern Time, exclusively right here on cleveland.com. We also can be reached on Facebook, facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine, with new content posted each and every day. So I think our How Come Quickie people were on strike, D-Man, but they've returned. They couldn't outlast me. They were on strike because a few of them admitted to actually plagiarizing some of these How Come Quickies from some other source. Big Ed chimes in today. How come when I told my wife she should embrace her mistakes, she hugged me? How come you should...
Good.
That is good. How come you should never lie to an x-ray technician because they can see right through you? Can't argue with that.
Heard that one.
Well, sure, that's plagiarism. Mr. Gullible. How come every time I abandon my diet plans, I feel like a deserter? That's pretty good. Pretty good. How come when I ask my boss if I could... No, go ahead.
Anything from Gullible's good.
Yeah. How come when I asked my boss if I could sleep in a little late tomorrow, I thought it was very nice of him when he said, dream on. Dream on green. John Patrick comes back. He's been out for a while. How come when the quarantine is over, the busiest people will be the divorce attorneys? I have no comment on that.
Indeed.
Dennis-Manoloff is with us. When are you on WTAM next?
Tomorrow night, 7 to 10, part of the Talk Force, Ray Davis's Talk Force.
Okay. Looking forward to hearing that. Dennis, we got about a minute here. You got anything that you just have been holding in all night or for the last month or the last 6 months? What do you got?
Yes, actually, a person you know quite well, Dave Bacon. Dave, I know you're listening out there and watching. I want back in on your weekend winners. I want back in on Dave Bacon's weekend winners.
Well, you got to stand in line. There's an awful lot of people waiting in line to get that spot.
I know. That's why I use these airwaves.
Hold on a minute. I'm going to be Karnak here. Yes, one day soon, D-Man will be back on Weekend Winners. You don't mess with Karnak.
My record was pretty good. You can check it.
Right. Yeah, but in Vegas, it's not so good.
I'm just saying, we had a blast. Dave and I were doing the NFL last year. It was a lot of fun.
Right. All right. That's all you have to complain about?
Listen, cooler heads.
Go ahead.
Let me make a prediction. Cooler heads will prevail. MLB will have a season. There's going to be negotiating that has to go on with the revenue split and all that other stuff. But I think both sides are going to realize it would do tremendous damage to the game if they did not attempt a season in 2020.
Yeah, you can't hold up, one side can't hold up the other at this point. You got to get out there, get on the field. If the doctors tell you it's okay, you got to do that and then worry about, in the offseason, worry about it. Well, now, the other thing, let's just touch on this with Francisco-Lindor. It came out the last couple of days that apparently the Indians have been willing to work out something, but he and his agent want no part of it. At what point does Paul Dolan get a reprieve from the fans who obviously are going to keep shouting cheap, cheap, cheap when this doesn't work, and yet that may not be the case?
Yeah, listen, we've all heard the mantra about the Dolans being cheap or whatnot, but I've never said in the case of Frankie Lindor that the Dolans or the Dolan ownership group, Dolan Family Trust, is cheap in this case, because Lindor, what he's going to command is simply way outside the realm of realistic possibility of the Cleveland Indians. I said that from the beginning, from literally a year ago, year and a half ago, 2 years ago. The same holds true now. In other words, this is not one of those cases that you point to. Now, maybe a Michael Brantley to the Astros, 2 years, $32 million. That kind of makes you scratch your head a little bit, but not Frankie Lindor leaving. That's why, you need to deal him in the offseason, so you can get something for him.
And apparently he's not even giving them a chance to be in on the bidding, which, maybe they couldn't match it or beat a deal that's out there. On the other hand, if he's not going to talk to them or give them the respect to have a meeting, I don't think it's fair to just come to his side and go against that of Dolan.
And Les, what have I said too about, I hope that this doesn't happen with Antonetti and Chernoff like it did with Shapiro. Lindor goes and he agrees to an offer for $330 million, and then the Indians claim they had a $270 million offer on the table. The famous ex post facto offer to avoid looking like you were lowballing.
Yeah, you're talking about Jim Thome, and I think it's been verified what you thought he was offered was not quite the deal. But this one, if he's not going to even talk to them, I don't know how you can blame the Dolans for this. I keep saying the Dolans, but I mean Paul Dolan for this.
Right. I just, you know what I blame, Les? In the case of Frankie Lindor?
Yeah, MLB.
I blame the player. I blame the player's talent. That's what I blame.
He's too good?
He's too talented for this team, this market size, this budget. Sorry, he just is.
Yeah, but when
and believe me,
when Boston has to give up on Mookie Betts, that tells you that's more to it than that.
Yeah, the Indians wouldn't be the only one who traded a potential $300 million contract before its time. Think about the Washington Nationals.
Who would you rather have, Bryce? Who would you rather have, Bryce Harper or Francisco-Lindor?
And I know Harper wasn't traded, but the Nationals weren't able to keep him. I would rather have Frankie Lindor 1,000 times over Bryce Harper.
All right, we got to go. Great job by Dennis-Manoloff. As always, he'll be on WTAM tomorrow night. That's 1100 on the AM dial. I'll see you tomorrow night with Paul Hoynes. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.